Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday live stream. So this is a great one. This is a interview with Michael Saylor as he came up on the Squawk Box on CNBC. And, you know, there are few people that I like to listen to put my mind at ease. And Michael Saylor is one of those individuals. And he goes over a whole plethora of different topics. So I just want to bring this to everybody's attention. And yes, there is a Bitcoin price prediction in there. It is crazy. So take it with a grain of salt. But again, like these are the people that I listen to put myself at ease when I feel a little bit anxiousness about the market itself. So let's just jump right into it and go over this piece. So this is about 10 minutes long. I linked the full interview in the description of this video. But the first question that was brought about was Microstrategy performance and how it's doing against everything else. I got to tell you, it's a pretty solid response about what he talks about. So I'm just going to have him take it from here. So just take a listen to what Mike's got to say.
But it's been a great journey since August 10th of 2020. MicroStrategy's bought about $8.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's up 44% a year on average since then. The S&P's up 12%. And since we levered it, we're up 825%. The number one performing stock in the S&P is NVIDIA, up 821% as of Friday. So we beat every single company in the S&P index using a Bitcoin strategy.
Does MicroStrategy now do anything else?
We still run the software business, and it's generally a cash cow for us. But our primary business is a Bitcoin development company. So what we're doing is we're securitizing Bitcoin. We're selling convertible bonds for people that don't want the full volatility and all the risk of Bitcoin.
And that right there. So, and then he goes off on the tangent, which is great, but you can take a listen. And if you're a business, a corporation, institution, and you're listening to this right now, I really have to wonder if you look at it and say, well, you know, how can we improve our bottom line? How can we increase revenue? And what MicroStrategy did was brilliant. They essentially are a proxy for Bitcoin. And if you really think about it, there's really not much competition for that. Okay, it's kind of like this. If you have a business, right, and you sell pizzas or something like that, you are Papa John's. You don't like it when Pizza Hut opens up. You don't like it when Peter Piper Pizza opens up down the street. You're like, damn it, that's competition. But if other companies get into this and they start buying more crypto or more Bitcoin itself, you have to ask yourself, like, where's the competition? It's not. Everybody just keeps buying it up. They keep holding like MicroStrategy is doing. I got to tell you, it's brilliant. So for that piece right there, I have to hand it to you, or have to hand it to Michael Saylor about it was a brilliant move for the company itself. They still do things, which is positive, and I like where things are going. So the next piece he's going to talk about, which I have to ask myself sometimes, is like, you know, do the ETFs really make a huge difference? And what about outflows, and what about traders, and just the performance of Bitcoin overall? Because it seems like ETF, and we saw a massive amount of outflows recently. Does it really make a difference? So just take a listen to this piece right here. It's pretty good. It starts at about 3:04. Let me fast forward there. Right here.
Price of Bitcoin.
I think generally it's been a good thing and it's created more demand, but you got to keep in mind that Bitcoin is smart, fast, strong money. So on a Saturday night, if you're worried about a missile strike, you can't teleport your $10 million apartment to Singapore, lever it up 10 to 1 and short $100 million worth of New York real estate. But you can short $100 million worth of Bitcoin by borrowing $10 million. So you have a lot of fast money traders, a lot of volatility, and that will cause and ripple into volatility in the ETFs.
Can you explain
That's
this?
okay.
Can you explain?
And the next part, I mean, he's going to go into that and say, which makes sense, right? Because we know about ETFs and we know that, you know, people get into it, but they will trade that. They will go and it'll make it volatile, and you can do all these things. But, you know, if you're trading with the ETFs, you can make that volatile. But if you have it just with Bitcoin, you can do a whole lot more things. Hopefully and thankfully, a lot of the traditional finance, or well, I'll say all, but a good portion haven't figured that out yet. They know that they can do these things. I think as things move forward, hopefully it won't be as volatile. But he's right. I mean, if you want to trade 24/7, 365, what's open for that? Forex. Besides that would be Bitcoin. And it's not like if you have an ETF, you can do a lot of things. And the next piece, I thought it was pretty good because this is the question that you're going to get a lot. And that question is, well, if it's a hedge against inflation, you call it digital gold, but really is it? Because look how volatile it is. Gold's not that volatile. So how can you say that? And I like when he puts these things out because it can kind of strengthen our position when we're talking to people and trying to explain exactly what's going on. So just take a listen here. That's about 353 right here.
Fungible, free capital market in the world. Your New York apartment's not fungible. It's not liquid. I can't panic sell it. So when there's a short-term panic, Bitcoin is trading really, really hard.
Isn't it supposed to be the opposite?
Over the long term, it's up 44% a year every year, and you either get 12% from the S&P with VIX vol, or you take 3x the vol to get 44%. So over the long term, if you're an investor, it's going to be great because it's strong capital. Over the near term, if you're a trader, you get lots of arbitrage opportunities.
Is it a non-correlated asset people can count on, or is it just a risk-on?
You know, in the near term, whoever's got the most money can decide whether it correlates or non-correlates. It's like, again, I can lever it up 20 to 1 on Saturday night, and I can trade it long or short.
Hey, Michael.
That was good. I don't want to replay that, but I'd like you to listen to that again. When he talks about, well, is it too risky? And he says it very simply. He goes, look, and we talked about this just a couple of days ago, where he took a look at indices versus stocks versus Bitcoin. And traditionally, you're going to get around 10%, 10.2, 10.7, if you want to go 12% annualized compounding for the amount of gains that you get on an indices like an S&P 500. That's true. There's not that much. There's still volatility, but not as much. He said you can do that, or you can deal with the volatility and get 44%, which is what has been happening year over year. So think about that. I mean, really think about that, about where you want to put your money into. And you want to have your money actually work for you a little bit. So, I mean, there's a lot of diversification you can do here. And of course, if you want to do S&P 500, if you want to do real estate or precious metals, I do all those things too. But the majority is in Bitcoin because I believe in where things are going. So I like that response, and it kind of helps people to go, oh, well, okay, it's not, I mean, it is digital gold per se, but it is like, and as far as like a store of value, I compare it to, instead of a short-term store of value, like what gold could be, I say it's like a long-term store of value, and it really comes down to how long do you want to hold it. That's why we always talk about the 4-year cycles, because if you hold it 4 years, you're doing pretty good. And then the last couple of pieces are pretty interesting. It just talks about performance and then leverage and risk and where things are going. And now I'll just take a listen to this piece right here, which starts about 5 minutes or so. Let me fast forward just a touch. And here we are.
Worst case scenario of something that would happen in a leverage situation like that with the Bitcoin ETF.
I think what happens is people offshore trading on Binance with 20 to 1 leverage get wiped out on Saturday night when there's a potential missile scare. And so they're the degenerate crypto traders. On the other hand, what you want is a free, open capital market. Everybody can trade it any way they want. And so if you're going to hold it for more than 4 years, you're going to get superior performance with that volatility.
I mean, saying the same exact thing. And then the last one I thought was, well, actually, it's not the last one. Before we get to the crazy price prediction, which people love for some reason, I never thought of it this way. And he's going to talk about Gary Gensler. And they asked him, they said, you know, what do you think about Gary Gensler? Did he put in those 100 hours of research to really understand Bitcoin? Because, you know, he taught this at MIT. He talked about Bitcoin. He taught about Bitcoin and digital assets, XRP as well. But did he do enough? And the answer was quite surprising, actually. And I never really thought of it that way as far as Gary Gensler and what he's actually done for the crypto space. And before you start shouting at the screen, just take a listen. It actually makes a lot of sense.
I think this administration's been fairly conservative in their embrace of the crypto economy.
Right.
They want to go slow, carefully, deliberately.
But do they want to go, or do they not want to go?
Well, before Gensler entered office, the rhetoric was even more controversial. After Gensler entered office, you heard Jerome Powell, Christina Lagarde, Gary Gensler all say Bitcoin is a speculative digital asset. And that was actually a move forward. With the approval of the ETFs, it was the second move forward. I think clearly we're all waiting for big banks, bulge bracket banks, to start to custody and hold Bitcoin. That'll be the third big shoe to drop.
Yeah. So, I mean, on this channel, I'll be honest with you, we've somewhat demonized Gary Gensler as the big bad final boss. But if you take a step back and look at it, he did make a little bit of progress. And I will remind everybody before we start to throw darts and arrows at Gary's face, if it wasn't for Gary Gensler, because there are 5 commissioners, he is the chair. If it wasn't for Gary coming in and being the tiebreaker for the Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin ETF would not have happened. He was the deciding factor. Now, you can say, well, was it because of his determination and his thoughtful prowess of what Bitcoin is as far as a commodity, or was he scared to death of Larry Fink and BlackRock? I have no idea. But regardless, he has moved things forward. Now and on that same token, I will also say that he has actually moved some things back in the altcoin space. That is very true, but I never thought of it that way. So, I'll have to give Gary his due if I ever see him. Anyhow, and the last piece, of course, what everybody is waiting for here is the Bitcoin price prediction. And it's insane. And I don't like to give price predictions, but if Michael wants to give you one, have at it. So take a listen to this. Starts at 8:40. Pretty good, actually. And it's about a minute long. Here we go. This will be the last piece, then we'll do a little Q&A.
My view is
he to be Treasury Secretary. I mean,
you buy Bitcoin, you hold it for more than 4 years, Joe. That's my advice to everybody.
For anyone, buy it and hold it for more than 4 years. And then you think eventually it takes how much, let's say it is digital gold, what percentage of gold's market cap does it finally?
Bitcoin's 0.1% of the capital in the world right now. I think it's going to go to 7% of the capital.
7%.
My long-term forecast is it's going to go to 13 million over 21 years.
13 million.
13 million. But what is it 5 years from now? In your 4-year calculus?
It's been growing 44% a year with about a 40 to 50 vol. I would think it'll move on at 40%, then click down to 35, then 30, then 25. And at some point it'll be the S&P return plus 8%, and it'll be the S&P vol plus 8%, because it's always going to be a more global, open, free capital market.
And that is why I named this video, We Are Still Early. And we are still early. Can you imagine in like 10 years when people are talking about, Bitcoin's doing pretty good, 8% plus volatility, but, S&P 500 is doing this, and, whatever, but it is a global asset. And then those people a decade from now are going to talk about us, like, can you believe those guys were getting like 44, 45, 50% gains in a year? And then sometimes it was like 200, 300%. And that was just on Bitcoin. And then of course we have this, this global CBDC called Tomato Coin or whatever it is. And that went up, 10,000% or whatever actually happened. So when people say, we're not really that early, just wait. Because in 10 years, people are going to look back at us and be like, I can't believe they held for that long. That's it for today. So look, I love these types of videos because I'm a pretty calm individual, but when I see somebody like Saylor come out and say, it's because of this, even makes me even more relaxed. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, if you want to stick around, we'll do a little Q&A. And I'll answer all the questions to the best of my abilities. But if you got to take off. Enjoy the rest of the day wherever you're at. Let's get into the Q&A. Thank you, Uzi. You gave somebody a digital asset news membership. Fantastic. I like that. That's great. Someone got some real cool emojis now. All right. I like the tie that Saylor is wearing. Such a Chad. Yeah, it's doing pretty good, right? Not too bad. A couple of $1 billion among friends. Aristotle says, why talk about missiles? I don't know. Maybe just a way for him to give that interpretation as like war or something that's happening or a precursor to war. And I think we saw that in a lot of different areas, unfortunately, over the last year or so. So yeah, not financial advice. Banks are scary on the weekends. I don't know if they're scary. They sure are useless. I'll tell you that. Except for the ATM. You can always find those. And of course, you got to go there yourself. All right. Uzi says, I hope no one is panic selling from our team in here. Where was this? I was just playing around with this DCA tool. Let me share this one more time. And I was taking a look back like 4 years ago, because I was thinking to myself, you know, in September, like if you would have done 7,000 is a lot of money. Let's just do like $1,000. Doesn't really matter. For some people, $1,000 is chump change. Whatever. But if you put $1,000 4 years ago, remember 4 years, pretty much what you want to hang on for, and you would have invested in the pretty much the worst month, Rectober, they call it. And so it is September 9, 2024, 4 years ago, for 1,000. When we did liftoff into the next phase, into just April, if you put $1,000 into Bitcoin, you'd have $5,000. That's not bad for just sitting on your hands and doing nothing. If you had XRP, it would have been better, which is kind of crazy to think about. Ethereum 900%, BNB 2,000%, and Dogecoin, you'd have been up at $235,000. So now remember, there's like over 1,000 cryptos out there. So good luck finding the next Doge. Just saying. But I did think it was interesting. Again, with the Bitcoin part, I can see that definitely. Look at that. Where do we go? That's in May. Bitcoin, 464%. 406, 4.5x. Not too bad. So just think about that when you're like, what should I do? It's up to you. But $5 to $1 million, Rob? Yeah. If I had to do, well, now that Michael Saylor outdid me to that 13 million, I'm going to say, but that's in 21 years. He did say that. So I will stick to my same price prediction. At the end of the year, Bitcoin will be somewhere between $5 and $5 million. Nailed it. All right. Happy Monday. Yes, Saylor is a pretty smart guy. Can't wait. I'm excited. We're all excited. But just remember that nothing goes up in a straight line. So there's going to be some hard times. There's going to be some good times. But if you just stick around, I think you're going to like where we're going to go. Stefan says, what's your time frame estimate for the next cycle tap? I don't know. Bob Lucas, a couple of months ago, or maybe like 6 months ago, he was talking about a left translated cycle where he thought that we would top out towards the end of 2024. And now he's kind of went against that and said, no, I think we're still going to go to 2025. There's 8 to 12 different indicators I'm looking at. There's a link in the description for the video. I always talk about it. You know what we should do this weekend? We'll just do a watch along. I'm going to play that video and you guys can ask me any questions. And the video is when I'm going to sell 80% of my crypto. And we're going to take a look at some indicators. And there's 2 more I want to put in there that I think are important. But when those indicators hit, I'm out. And that's it. I won't ever be truly out. You're never truly out of assets, right? Unless you really want to be. When you get into real estate, you're always going to have real estate. You're always going to have land. When you're in precious metals, you're always going to have gold and silver. When you're into equities and stocks, you're always going to have those. You're never going to just always give them up. And you're always thinking about the next thing that's coming out. It kind of makes you a prisoner sometimes if you think about it. And then, of course, crypto digital assets, you'll never be out. Keep sucking you back in. Oh, no. James Earl Jones died? Jeez, awful. Man, that guy was great. Voice of Darth Vader in Star Wars. The Sandlot. A ton of other things. We all love throwing sand in the ocean, Rob. Yes, definitely so. Do you think that Bitcoin will hit 40,000 until the end of the year, like Bess said in one of his predictions? Ben said, it's anybody's guess. Let me ask you, everybody, would you be okay with a slow decline from here down to 40,000? Not a flash crash, because everybody loves those. Because flash crashes are easy. They're like, it'll go up. Well, let's just say it slowly declines. Let's say next week when Jerome Powell comes out and he's like, no, we're not gonna cut rates. Sorry. We've seen some data, we're not gonna do it. And then of course the market crashes and then he comes back, we're not gonna do it, and we're not gonna do quantitative easing, and we're gonna do some quantitative tightening, just screws up everything. Would you be okay with a slow, steady decline of Bitcoin out of 40K from 55K? Let me know. So with Mike's prediction, how much will Bitcoin be in 4 years? Well, you know, that's 44% annualized, taking over the whole time frame. So you have to imagine that, you know, just like in, I mean, what did we hit? Because the price in 2021, November 9th, 10th, I can't remember what it was 67,700. And then roughly a year later, roughly in November, we were looking at a $17,780 Bitcoin. So it's hard to say. He's saying 40% over the long haul, but I still until the 4-year cycles become defunct. That just means that next year is going to be great, and the year after that's going to suck, and it's going to be really bad. And especially if we start to really push out that recession, because we're going to do quantitative easing, and at some point we're going to start raising rates again. And we pay the price for doing all this printing, and it becomes like a master recession. That'll be 2026. Then everything goes to pot. So I don't know. And after that, who knows? Andrew drains Michael. Andrew is one of the co-hosts. He's got good questions. I know some people hate him, but you know, Joe and Andrew go back and forth. And there was this one clip where Joe just would, or Andrew would just not get it from Squawk Box about Bitcoin. And Joe had to just set him straight for like 5 minutes straight. It was great. I got to find that one. Jean-Louis, always give me good stuff. Great interview and debriefing. Yes, it's like a 10-minute long video. You guys should all watch it. It's pretty good. Just sit there so you can chill out. Yeah. Grand Senior, you're never out of crypto. You're never out of crypto. Oh, yeah. Conan, the barbarian, the first one. That was a good one. Yeah. Everybody's looking forward to that. That's when I stopped doing videos. I'm still going to DCA into 40K. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. B-Man says, Rob, do you like the Carolina area in Puerto Rico for potential real estate investment on financial advice? Yeah, Carolina's nice. It's kind of the opposite way from me. I'm in Guaynabo. But yeah, it's good. And the whole island's good, quite honestly. Unless you want to live in the mountains, in the Isla. Up in the Isla, I don't want to hear coqui frogs all night long. But yeah, that's not a bad area. I like that area. Yeah. Digital, I knew it was David Prowse from Bristol, UK was Darth Vader. James was just a voice. Ah, yes, obviously. Yeah, Bristol was an enormous guy. And apparently super strong, matter of fact. But yeah, James Earl Jones was just the voice. Hey, Rob, what is it, Matic to poll? Is it okay to hold it in Ledger? Go to their official website, and they have a blog post about what you're supposed to do. And it just depends on what exchange that you're actually on, or if you're in a cold storage or hot wallet. So read that. Go to the official website. You can always find a CoinGecko. Go to the actual project, Matic, Polygon. It'll say website. Go to the website, and then hit up that that blog post. Marty says, a slow, steady climb. No, the dragging was the last 3 years. We've all been through it, so let's go. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, over the last year, how much have we gone up? Let's take a look. You know, holy smokes. Everybody, we did it. Over the last 24 hours, we went from 57 up to 58 too. I don't want to say that I did it myself. Yeah, obviously you guys did something for me. But yeah, in the last hour, we're up 2.3%. I don't know what's going on, but that's great. Anyhow, looking at the last year, remember, we are up 125%. So just, let's see. Just what that looks like is like this. So it really hasn't been a slow drag over 3 years. But if you want to take a look at 3 years, it did look like this. Smiley face. So since 2022, oh, it was 16,000. Excuse me. Maybe it was 15,000. You can see for the last year and 3 quarters, hasn't been too bad. Interesting stuff right now. That's a nice 56.8. Well, congratulations. We did it, everybody. To Valhalla. All right. 58K Bitcoin. Tor says, with Al Bundy, that's a good one. I'm all in October 2025. We hit all-time high in September. Sounds good. Yeah, Joe Kieran on CNBC, he's big on Bitcoin. And you can tell every time he debates somebody and talks about it. Oh, if you didn't see the one with Elizabeth Warren, that was great. Barry says, why is YouTube so late with notifications? I don't know. Just, I'm the same way too. Like I get notifications for when Guy and the gang over there at Coin Bureau Clips go live for the news. Never get in time. It's like 2 hours later. J2 Day says wrist update. I have to tell you why I did this. So let me go to Twitter. Everybody see this? No, you can't. Oh, there's Tommy doing his TA stuff. Excellent. So I had this question. That's not it. And I said, hey, I said torn ligament in the wrist and surgery is the only option. The original wrist surgeon is a grade A jerk, but he's the best. Second opinion doc said surgery is the only option, but this guy doesn't come as highly recommended, but he's more agreeable, easier to deal with. Which one do you go with? And everybody said the same thing, which is like, go with a jerk, obviously, because who cares? You're under. It's not me. It's actually my wife. She has a small wrist problem, and looks like surgery is the only way. But and of course, I knew the answer. We're going to go with the jerk. It's obvious, right? I don't care if he's a a-hole. It's just that's what he is. But he's really good. And I was just kind of saying this is like the same thing as like if you're going to vote for somebody as far as that like congressman or woman or senator or dare I say it, even president. Even if they're a jerk, you just want them to do their job and do their job well. So I know people say, well, you know, Elizabeth Warren's, you know, a crypto Karen. Well, yeah, but maybe she's good at this one thing. I would personally rather vote for John Deaton, but whatever. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there as a reminder. And that was it. All right. Thanks. Says, how many about mosquitoes? How many in Puerto Rico? It's not the mosquitoes that get you. It's these like, there's like these little bugs that come out in the sand. And there's a name for them over there, and they will bite the hell out of you. But besides that, I mean, mosquitoes aren't that bad over there, quite honestly. Yeah, not too bad. The only thing I had to worry about, the only thing you really are going to annoy the hell out of you would be the potholes. For some reason, potholes are awful. People are great. Food, beaches, fantastic. Weather, beautiful. But yeah. Yeah. John Louis says, hey, Rob, your opinion, BlackRock has been settling its Bitcoin transactions with Coinbase without using Bitcoin's settlement network. I don't know what this means for the proof, Merkle trees, and proof of reserves, but I would have to guess that there has to be some kind of documentation that they have to share with the SEC because it is a regulated ETF about what they're actually doing, because it has to be one-to-one, correct? That's the whole point of a spot ETF. So this one, John Lewis, I'm not for sure. I know there's been some chatter about some negative parts about what's going on with the ETF, but then it's been debunked and people have redacted their comments. So I'll have to deep dive into it to see where it is. It is concerning when it's not super concerning, because if I have to jump out on every different FUD article, we'd never get ahead. But as time has gone on, I've learned that you really need to do a lot of research. So I'll take a look. That is something. Benny, same here. Notification may not work either. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Only so much time, rate cuts, bears, true. If only the government did their jobs well. Yeah. Juan Carlos, Rob, do you still hold Cardano? Absolutely. So remember, we have DNews stake pool, and I put over 100,000 Cardano into that. So, and I can't take that out. So yeah. Are you still jumping the pool when Bitcoin hits 100K? I got to find a pool first. This is just a green screen. I'll get an inflatable or something. Sandflies. All right. Are vicious in New Zealand. Is there a Bitcoin community out in Puerto Rico? It is the biggest Bitcoin community. Not the biggest, but some of the more original, the OGs of Bitcoin. David Bailey lives in Puerto Rico, and he's the individual who owns Bitcoin Magazine and does the Bitcoin conference every year. And then, I know a bunch of different people who have been in crypto and Bitcoin forever. Some since like 2000, since the beginning, 2010, 2011. I like talking to those individuals because they always give me good insight as to what is happening. One of those things is like Ethereum. I know people say, Ethereum's dead, whatever else. Trust me. Too much money sloshing around. They will make it work. Not your keys, BlackRock's coins. Absolutely. Welcome. David, great show. Sure. $82. Cade Bergman's here. Cade does an excellent job over on his channel. Also works with Wolf Financial. And we had a good sit-down talk with just to talk about everything, about the markets, where we're going. I gave my little backstory about my anger issues and the things that I went through. Crazy, right? I used to be a real jerk back in the day. That's when you're young and you can get away with that stuff. Yeah, well. B-Man says, Joe Rogan and many others have gone to Mexico for stem cell treatment, said they avoided surgery as a result, not medical advice. Yeah, we tried that. And actually, we go over to, because right now we're vacationing in El Paso. Best place to vacation if you like great food. And we've gone over to Juarez, both of us, to get stem cells. It's worked pretty well. I think it's not one of the big reasons, but it's a good reason why I think my back is doing so great right now after that L5S1 total herniation or ruptured disc. We call those little bugs midgies in Aussie. I wish I could get away with that. Let's see. That's still short of all time high. True. Cade. Would you recommend Puerto Rico as a permanent residence for tax purposes? How long do you need to live there to take advantage of tax perks? So you have to understand that when you move there in Puerto Rico, this is going to come up a lot. If you do a search for Digital Asset News Puerto Rico, there'll be two videos that come up. One is my first video when I first got out there, and the second one was a year after. And I tell you all the mistakes I made, the things that I would do. I give you the contact information for my two lawyers. I give you my contact information for my real estate agents, and just a whole plethora of information that you're probably going to need to move forward. What I can remind you is this. Even if let's say you have a massive, whatever crypto that you actually have in your cold storage device, the day that you move over to Puerto Rico, you still have to pay capital gains on that. So if you're thinking, I'll just save up and just move to Puerto Rico and boom, no capital gains. It doesn't work like that. America's got you. So you're going to move over, you're going to pay the capital gains on that. But the day that you move over there, when you start dollar cost averaging, that doesn't get capital gains taxed. So there's that. And that is why I'm always talking about Roth IRAs with iTRUST. And I tell you, if you want to avoid taxes, or minimize your taxes, there's no tax avoidance, it's tax minimization. Even I have to pay taxes. I got to pay corporate tax. I got to pay personal tax. I got to pay real estate tax. Just capital gains tax I don't pay. And that's where we're at. But then also you also have to give a certain amount to charity. And as you make more funds, if you have a business over there, you have to hire people. So just remember that. It's a whole thing. That's why you have to watch that video. So hope that helps. But Puerto Rico is a great place to be. Rob, how many people would be in your live chats back on November 21st? 50? No, not 50K. I don't know. About 3K, 4K, somewhere around there. So this is the best time to be in crypto, in my personal opinion, because I don't have to deal with a bunch of tourists calling me Dan and not Rob, which I don't really care. The other thing I really despise is like when they're giving me financial advice and they just got into the markets. I'm like, all right, bro, calm down. I think I'll figure it out. And then of course, you know, it's just the friction between the new people who are so exuberant. I love the exuberance and I love the energy, but it does get annoying. I'm an old guy, so would just like people just to stop with that. That's why I want to step down in the bull market. So I don't have to deal with that. Once we get to a point, I'm like, cool. Once you see more people calling me Dan than Rob, that's a top signal. Let's see. November 21st, best of the times. I thought it was the stuff of the moment. I got to tell you. Hey, Daniel, my dad. I'm not your dad. You can do whatever you want to do. Let's see. What is sell the crypto bought in America and let's say Portugal? How's going to know where I sold? That's just it, Oleg. You're not going to, but at some point they might ask you some questions. You know, I was at the Nashville conference, the Bitcoin Nashville conference. I was at Ben's party, and I'm up there and I'm talking to a couple of guys, hedge fund guys, and one of them was saying that they're like, this is the year I'm just going to stop paying taxes. I'm like, oh, how's that going to work? He's like, well, if you look statistically and the IRS is going after you, you know, they can only do so much. I'm just going to stop paying. I'm like, hope that works out for you. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I'm still deathly afraid of the IRS, so I am compliant. Wait, you aren't, Dan? All right, there's one. That's right. I can't believe people think it's a green screen. It could be a green screen. It just is a very nice one. Like, you know, the stuff that moves in the background could just be a video. Yes, thank you. Exactly, Alex. See, the IRS onboarded blockchain experts. That's your tax dollars at work, so they can get more tax dollars from you. Yeah, unfortunately. You also have Peter Schiff and PR, don't you? You know, I've heard from multiple people that he's a super nice guy, very engaging, relatable. Just when he starts talking about Bitcoin, everybody hates his guts. Who knew? Let's see. He was. Oh, man. I forgot. Why do they call you Dan again? It stands for Digital Asset News. It's just an acronym. Dan. Yeah. Snickern says, IRS now asks if you buy, sell crypto on returns. I'm not chancing it. Yeah, at the very top, it says, do you own, buy, or sell cryptocurrencies? And you have to check it if you have it. You don't have to, but, you know, there's a good chance. Here's the thing. If you deal with any exchanges, there's a good chance they're reporting to the IRS. So just remember that. When you sign up for a centralized exchange, did you have to give them your name? Maybe your social? Maybe verify with an ID? If they did, the IRS knows. Which is a funny thing, because if the IRS knows all these things and you work for a company and they send the W-2s and they know how much you're making, why don't they just tell you how much you owe? Wouldn't that be the easiest? Oh, well. It says, is El Paso a good city? It's a great city. Good food like the smokehouse. It's the best food. If you like super spicy, authentic Mexican, it's the best. I always talk about how great it is here. Got to run. Great show. Remember the hodl. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. Twitter ship is the worst. It's just a persona. I don't think so. Oh, Benny. They do the same in the Netherlands. If you want a welfare check because you can't get a job, you better show your crypto. That makes sense, actually. Crypto Esquire. Also, never underestimate the tax man. I had a friend in a chat group like this saying not to pay taxes, and out of nowhere they called him. Exactly. That's why, like, I don't know if they monitor me or not. I doubt it. It'd be very boring for them. But there's a reason why I talk about the IRS and talk about paying taxes, and we partner up with CoinLedger every single year so you can report your taxes, because I don't want to go through that. Yeah, that's a good point. Tax company lobbyists like H&R Block prevent the IRS from filing returns for you. True. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. H&R Block doesn't have everybody going to them. Business over. Peter sells gold. That's why he hates digital gold, Bitcoin. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Yeah. I did wonder if they have the manpower to police everyone until they talked about employing thousands of agents. Yeah. Trust me, they'll find you. And it's not like they're going to find you like right away. It may be 2 or 3 years later, but they'll get you. I agree. In persona, Schiff seems amicable in interviews. Yeah. Apparently, before and after interviews, a very nice guy. Don't you? If Schiff hated Bitcoin, then he wouldn't accept it for payments for gold. No, I think it's not that. I think he's just like, look, money's money. And and he says this before, he's like, I will take that Bitcoin and immediately transfer over to cash, which I got to tell you, I wonder if he really does that, because where else are you going to get those kinds of returns? It's not like he's getting those magnificent returns in gold. Let's take a look at the price of gold. Actually, let me show you something. Let's see if I can do this right. This is Ben's website. I steal from it every day. Don't tell him. And let's see. I'll see if I can do this. There's the Bitcoin price. Maybe not. It's macro equity. Well, maybe. Commodities right there. There we go. Gold. Let's zoom in. So in blue here is the Bitcoin price. That's the Bitcoin price. Wow. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, Pete's not making out like a bandit on gold. Maybe because he has a company for gold. So it doesn't matter to him. So like going past 2013, okay, so actually they came up the same way. And then on 2011, it dropped down. Let's just keep going from 2011, shall we? And then here we are. Now gold takes a drop, almost 2,000 per ounce. Then it goes, geez, did it really go down that far? 1,000 per ounce. Interesting. Bitcoin did go down, but you can see, and again, just like Michael Saylor was talking about in the video, if he just took this for 4 years, where would he be? I'm just saying. Not a bad time to hold on a little bit for Bitcoin. Seth says, yes, Ben Cohen, different Ben. There's a Ben. That's true. I should really differentiate. But has anybody ever seen me hang around BitBoy? There's too many Bens. Ben Cohen. I met him once. Super nice guy. Walking in Austin. Was it Austin? Yeah, Consensus. Let's see. It's Ben BitBoy. Let's see. Oleg says, Peter said on multiple podcasts that he should have listened to his son and buy some Bitcoin in 17K. It's a pretty funny thing. My son said the same thing. And that's the whole story. Came home from school, 2012. Hey, 500 Bitcoin for $500 on this hard drive. Alan, what is that? It makes no sense. I don't even know what that is. He told me, I'm like, still doesn't make any sense. That was it. Could have had 500 Bitcoin. I would have sold it though. I know it for a fact. And that's it. Anyhow, well, everybody, that's it for today. It's a Monday. I don't know what the hell's going on with the price, but since we started this stream, let me refresh this action. Oh, okay. Well, let's get off. Let's stop the stream before it drops down to 40,000. That's it for today, everybody. So thanks so much for stopping by. Again, on your way out, if you could hit the like and or subscribe, that'd be great. That's it, everybody. Thanks so much. See you guys on the next one. Adios.